Wait, it's a video. Play something. Yeah. Matt Souza, what'd you take away from that presentation just then?
That were
I want to make it clear that I'm not here saying that science is broken. What I'm here to talk about is broken science, and there's a lot of it.
And I'm asking people how they felt about the broken science talk. You were able to soak in anything that you heard as you were recording? Anything you learned or gonna take away from that? What did you take away from that talk? Can you tell me anything that you may have learned?
Say that. Don't.
Great.
No.
How many hard seltzers have you had
Not
this
even.
weekend?
I'm good.
What are you doing here? What'd you just say?
Absolutely not. It's really good to see you, Hiller.
What picture did you send me earlier, Paul?
Oh, the Fruit Loops?
The Fruit Loops,
Fruit
yeah.
Loops. Huge fan. It's a conversation starter. I like to actually send that out Christmas morning.
Hey, Merry Christmas.
The models are flawed, and if the models are flawed, the answer is wrong.
no, that all the information that's coming out, especially from the science, and then turning into political views, which then turn into regulation, that the models that they're built on are already flawed, so then all the information that's built on top of that is completely false.
It's not that they're bad people or anything like this, they're out to get you or they're nefarious or whatever, but everybody makes mistakes and people can't see the mistakes that they make, especially when they're that smart. They fall in love with these models.
Took forever to get it done. James, what are you doing? Hey, what are you doing? God damn it!
Models become real to them. They love these models more than they love reality often. And so the only way to know if these things are any good is to have independent, just like if, I say if you're at a company, who does the company have come and audit their books? They don't have their own house accountant do it. And it's not because the house accountant, you're thinking he's guilty of embezzlement or anything like that. It's just that if he's made a mistake, he's not going to see what it is. Otherwise, he would have already corrected it. So you have outside, independent, disinterested people doing this kind of stuff. And that's exactly what we need in science, too.
I liked how Briggs had kind of gone into depth about climate change and the background on that. Everything will tell you one place is getting hotter than the other. And it's kind of like, how can you base your research off of that? And you can go read some article that'll tell you one thing, and then you have another article that'll tell you another thing.
And then the on climate change, every place in the world is heating up 2 times faster than every other place in the world.
Everywhere is hotter than everywhere else.
With climate change, people have gone a little nuts. I came across this thing that said a certain area of the world in which I was is warming twice as fast as the rest of the world. And that sounds pretty bad, right? Oh, California is warming twice as fast as the rest of the world. That means it's really bad out there. We need to do something. So I thought, what other areas of the world are warming twice as fast as everywhere else? So I just looked it up. I looked it up. Scholar Google. I looked at these are all papers or headlines about science papers. The Arctic is warming 4 times faster than the global average. Europe is hotting up more than twice the global average. I have documentation on all these things. Japan, India, Pakistan, Indian Ocean, Australia, New Zealand, Southwest Pacific, Antarctica, the Earth's legs, Canada, of course. And finally, I bring us to the seat of the regime itself, the once United States of America. The United States of America over the past 50 years has warmed 68% faster than the climate as a whole. These are all scientists saying this. These are all scientists, peer-reviewed studies published on models that make all these claims. Surprisingly, this does not convince people that the models must be wrong. It is impossible. It's not a question of science. It's not a question of science at this point. It's a question of logic.
Excuse me.
It is impossible everywhere is heating up faster than everywhere else.
I can't make myself any clearer.
That can't be done. All right, it's just not possible.
Why isn't it possible? It's just not. Why not, you stupid bastard?
So somebody is making a mistake.
No, you didn't.
That was nuts. It just makes no sense.
No.
Do you know what a p-value is?
I do.
What is a p-value?
I can't. There's not a chance I'm explaining that right now.
Why not, you stupid bastard.
I'm gonna find a way to get analogies that we could take that information and then give it back to people in terms that they could understand without having to have the context prior to it. Because I think the information is vitally important so people could kind of separate the game from the truth.
Modern science will distinguish itself, will hold as demarcation between itself and all other the predictive strength of its models. And it says something. I expect someone here to stand up and say, I've been doing extispacey for 14 years and it works, I'm sure. Then I went on a little bit of a shopping spree. Might have been somewhat of a mistake. I got the magic 8-ball, it's unused. You remember that? And that would be under the crystallography. This is the only crystal ball I remember. Does anyone remember this thing? You're old, put your hand up. I got a Ouija board. And that's up there, spirit board. The books I got, and what I did to myself on Amazon with this shit is really Tasiography, coffee ground and TV fortune telling. Ornithomancy. This chick watches birds take off and can tell you what comes next for you. Here, the future told by reading livers. Liver is king! Yeah, they take your liver and go, you're fucked. I'm sure there's a lot of believers and a lot of belief here, but the beauty of modern science is that there's a demarcation between science and non-science and its predictive strength.
I can't talk when there's a camera in my face. You could tell me that wasn't even on and it doesn't matter.
You know, the part I like the most is just breaking down peer review and trying to get multiple views on things and just articulating it to the community is awesome. You can pick models or designs of solutions for anything that you have a bias for, and you know, just putting a critical eye to really what people are saying and understanding where their conclusions are coming from without taking it just at face value is really where I see fixing science, and I think that's what Greg was trying to articulate.
It wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be, and Greg seems like a really well-read man and seems like he has spent a lot of time thinking about what he was presenting today.
Predictive strength is the sole determinant of validation. God, that's important. It's the sole, and this is why Feyerabend can be against method, because it really doesn't matter how you came up with E = MC squared or anything else that has found to be scientifically of importance. My father's line was, inspiration or perspiration, doesn't matter, does not affect the validity, does not enter into the validity, is not part of how we assess its legitimacy.
And I could listen to that man talk for days.
Which one?
Greg Glassman.
William was a surprise. I didn't know he was speaking, and I feel like he connected with the crowd, and people resonated with a lot of what he was saying.
And then William Briggs going off on what we've just experienced for the last 3 years. He said a line, I wrote it down, the model's only going to tell you what you tell it to tell you, or something along those lines.
It's not that you can't use models. Of course, we need models. There's no other way to make predictions. Models could be good or bad. It's not that because a model only says what it's told to say, it means it's a bad model. That's not what I'm implying at all. But if you're saying that the model discovers that social distancing is a wonderful thing, no, the model had that in there as the premise. You can't use that premise to say to you then this is the conclusion. That's circular arguments. And those circular arguments became the basis of legal decisions.
I feel like all of it is stuff that people should go home and think about and form their own conclusions.
Common sense is key.
Common sense is important, yes.
It's important.
Yeah.
It's key in my brain.
Yes, I think it is valuable.
I think it all just comes down to this is what's being fed to the public, and a lot of people are basing their information and their knowledge off of this. And so what they're trying to do is just share the truth and spread the truth to everybody. And I think that's the main reason why I'm here, is to help understand that and figure out a way to help spread that to other people.
Again, the idea I think here is to teach kids what science is, and maybe most importantly in that regard is what science isn't, and to do that ahead of trying to learn about the solar system and periodic tables. And I think the periodic chart just got removed from some schools.
For anybody that is questioning the things that they've been told over the past few years. If you get a chance to come to one of these Broken Science initiatives, it would be a good thing for you to experience. In Phoenix, it was more speakers. 2 was good, but Eric was asking me, like, is that it? And I said, that is it, but for today. But as they go along this, I imagine it's going to be other speakers at different locations and whatnot. But no, I think it's perfect.
You know, I think the big thing is we have a small group of folks here, but, you know, pushing out the message broader. That's awesome, you know, however we can help.
You came here and you were in Arizona. Will you be in the next one too?
I will, wherever that is.
Wherever they go, you're gonna be?
I don't know where that is yet, but I'll be there.
That's super cool. I'll go to the next one, wherever it is.
Wherever they
I don't care if it's in Europe, I'm there.
I'll be there.
What was the CrossFit Health mantra? Let's start with the fucking truth, right? I believe a societal or institutional fix to be absolutely impossible. I have no dreams of that. Just in the sense that I don't think there's any cop that thinks he's gonna be such a good cop there won't be any more bad guys, right? It's not that kind of thing. But I think what we can do is, in leading CrossFit, I kind of got forced into this everyone, anyone distinction. And I had a journalist that was teeing off on me, about to hit me with this, you gotta admit it's not for everyone, because I've heard it so many fucking times. I never had an answer for it. And this time he just came out of my mouth and said, yes, but it is for anyone. And the difference between everyone and anyone, we all know what everyone is. Anyone is he or she that Rogers up and goes on to a person. And it got me to looking at the literary notion of everyman. It's a capital E. It's a somebody, like St. Nick, everyman, right? And I think not enough has been made of any man, and that's a different kind of soul. And so I don't have anything for every man, but I have something for any man. If you want to really think about these things, then I think we can make it a matter of school curriculum. I'm certainly going to arm my children with this, but I think what we can do is free people from the tyranny of shitty science and its purveyors. And boy, is this a good time for this. I don't know if any of you, this resonates with anyone here or not, but I think there's a profound need to start telling the people what science is and what it is not. My dad was if you couldn't adequately understand what it was if you didn't know what it wasn't. And so we had that list of all the things that predict and stuff, you know. Science isn't going to tell you if Janie loves you or not, and whether Bob's going to ask you to the prom, right? It doesn't work in every province, never claim to. What else?
Please smash that like button.
Do it!
No one touches
Just do it!
Now.
Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it! Make your dreams come true! Just do it! Some people dream of success, while you're gonna wake up and work hard at it. Nothing is impossible. No, what are you waiting for? Do it! Just do it! Yes, you can!